Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is John Evans, and today I am going to show you my exact Facebook ads targeting method that took me from zero to over $25,000 in a single month. What's up, my elite family? I hope you're all doing well. Today I am going to show you my exact Facebook ads targeting and testing methods to help you determine if your product is a winner. So basically, I am going to pick one product from AliExpress that I would personally think is going to be a winner. And I am going to show you over the shoulder into my business managers exactly how I would target and exactly how I would set everything up as if I was actually testing this myself. So you'll be able to see my exact method and even replicate it. And trust me, once you do, I promise you, you will most definitely find success. So, before we jump onto my computer, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe now button below, as well as the little bell button. That way, you're one of the first ones to be notified when the next value bomb drops on this channel. Alright, so without further ado, let's get it. Alright guys, so we're actually over the shoulder in my computer, and like I said, I'm going to show you a product that I picked from AliExpress that I know has potential to be a winner. And if you can't tell what this is, it's basically an iPhone case, but it has the capabilities of, you know, it being like a Game Boy, right? Where you can play like some of the classic games like Mario Brothers, Donkey Kong, Pac-Man. So you can play like all these classic games, and I'm going to show you over the shoulder how we go about targeting for this particular product on Facebook. Alright, so now we're jumping on to my Facebook Business Manager, right? And once you're here, right, basically you're going to hit Create Campaign. And I'm going to lay out my exact strategy, right? I'm not going to skip a step, guys. I promise this is going to be from 0 to 100, okay? And then campaign name, you actually want to name your campaigns the way, you know, they're based on the name of whatever product you're actually selling. So in this case, it's that iPhone game case, right? So let's just call it iPhone game case. You know, we're going to leave this as an auction, and campaign objective is going to be conversions, of course, right? Because we want people who are most likely to buy, right? We want Facebook to go after those buyers. And then for the ad set name, right? Right now you don't know what you're targeting, so it's kind of nameless, right? But you don't want to leave it nameless, so let's just put a filler here, right? Interest, and then, you know, I like to put the interest, you know, whatever the interest name is that I'm targeting, and $5, right? $5 meaning that's the budget that I have assigned this ad set, right? Alright, so for ad name, I would just name it iPhone case, game, video ad, you know. So we're going to hit save to draft. Facebook has created our campaign right here, right? So we're going to hit close, right? And now we have our campaign, right? iPhone game case, the way we named it. And we're going to go to the ad set level. And now we're going to actually want to modify this. So this is the way you named your ad set, right? We're going to leave it interest because we don't know what we're targeting yet. And then here, we're always going to want to go for purchase, right? And you may see your purchase red if you haven't had a sale ever, or, you know, maybe no sales for over a week. And then budget and schedule, like I said earlier, we're going to do $5 a day. The way I like to test, which I'm going to, you know, pretty much show you, is I like to split or do 10 ad sets for every product I test. So for locations, okay, there is a couple of options, right? And basically what you want to always go for is people who live in this location. And then right here, my personal preference, you know, is to actually target the big four: the US, the UK, Australia, and Canada. Okay, and now we move on to age, gender, and languages. And honestly, this is really going to depend on it's going to depend on a lot of things, but mainly your niche. As far as the top age, you can use Facebook's audience insight tools. For example, like let's think in terms of targeting, right? Who would like an iPhone case where you can play games? Obviously, people who aren't, you know, maybe into the games that the actual phone, the actual case packs, right? Mario Brothers, you know, Mario Bros. Yeah, Super Mario Bros. Okay, perfect, right? It's a perfect example. So essentially, I'm not gonna do all of them that are related to Super Mario, but essentially you do this for at least 3 interests, just so you can see demographical data. And here you'll notice. Okay, so right here you'll see that this Mario Bros alone has almost 1 million people, so that's pretty good. And you'll see that between men and women, there's not really much of a difference. So I would definitely target both. And then here you'll see that okay, maybe the kids are not a good idea to target, but 25 and up, pretty good idea, honestly. And so I probably maybe just do 25 to 54, right? 25 to 54 because that's where the bulk of people are. Let's go ahead and just plug in the numbers. We're gonna leave gender all, right, and obviously if you have a product that only applies to women, that's when you would just want to do women or just men, but in this case you're good. Then of course, because you're targeting countries that Canada is the only one that partially speaks French. You do want to actually select English on languages, so just so that you target people that know English, right? So let's just go down here and get this out of the way real quick, okay? So automatic payments and edit placements, right? We want to do edit placements. We don't want to let Facebook dictate for us, like what to do and all the platforms to advertise, right? From experience and just from proven data, most of your sales will come just from feeds alone. And Instagram too, like sometimes Instagram beats Facebook, right? But on stories, it's not really very effective. So we're just going to check that out. But we're also going to leave it on Instagram feeds because that one's also proven to sell. And then audience network and messenger, you can literally just click that out. The bulk of your sales will come from feeds. So might as well just narrow it down because if you leave all the other ones, Facebook's just going to spend on those that that you're not going to get sales on. And then conversions, like I said, this is the objective. And you always want to leave this in 7 days click or 1 day view. It's what's always given me results, and I wouldn't really change the conversion window. And here you're going to have lowest cost and target cost. Target cost is more advanced, like when you're actually scaling. But when you want to test, you want to go for lowest cost, right? You want Facebook to get you people at the cheapest rate possible. So lowest cost is always what you have to start with when you're testing. And then everything else is pretty much that. And that's it, guys. So this is what's going to happen right now. We're going to close this, right? And when you close it, it automatically saves, so you're not going to lose anything, right? And so what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this. And here's my strategy, okay? We're going to duplicate this. We're going to leave original campaign, and we're going to actually duplicate it 9 times because we got to count the one that already exists, so that's 10. And so by duplicating it 9 times, we're going to have a total of 10 ad sets. So here's my strategy. I like to do low budgets, $5 a day. That's all you need. But I do like to really just spread my risk, right? And also test different ad sets, just different audiences, different interests, and see which ones get me the sale, right? And Facebook's gonna give you these things and automatically turn them on for you. So just make sure you turn them off, and because otherwise you'll just be wasting more money. And then we're just gonna hit duplicate, and we're basically gonna go after different market segments, right? Just look at it as putting all your eggs not in one basket but in multiple baskets, right? You're diversifying your risk while at the same time you're actually going after different marketing segments and it's the proper way to test. So you're gonna get this open, just close it, and now you're gonna see your 10 interests, and it doesn't matter, you can start with any, right? You have to do this for all 10, right? And essentially everything stays the same, right? Everything we did, like all the countries we picked, demographics, everything, and we did this on purpose because everything's actually going to stay static. The only thing that's going to change is your detailed targeting. So this is actually the what you should always split testing. This is where the money is made, honestly. Like this is the most important thing as far as your ads go. And again, we're advertising an iPhone case, right? So what's the first thing that comes to mind? Okay, people who like to play games, but not just games, because there's people who like to play video games, but those aren't at home. So you got to think further. Okay, maybe people who like to play phone games. Okay, that's better. And just think off the top of your head. Okay, what are popular phone games, right? And let's say you're not into phone games, you don't know at all. That's okay. Like Google is your friend. Clash Royale, Fortnite, Pokemon Go. Like Pokemon Go, it's like wow, Minecraft, Clash of Clans. Like boom, like these right here. Like that's all you need. Like that's all you have. I mean, honestly, you have Super Mario. Like you have all the 10 interests, like all the interests you need in the world right here alone. So, Fortnite, right? How do you spell it? No. Oh, here it is. Oh, there you go. Fortnite, right? Boom. And it's crazy. So this interest alone has 21 million people. Huge, guys. Like anything like 1 million and above is perfect. Like anything 1 million plus is perfect. And that's pretty much it, right? So let's say we're just gonna do Fortnite, and this is why I told you guys at the beginning, don't change the ad set name, because that's where you're gonna name. Like that's the ad set you're gonna name. That's how you're gonna name it. That's how you're gonna identify it, right? You remove this thing, copy, and that's it. And you hit close. Boom, done. And it's as simple as that. Then you're essentially gonna do the exact same thing right here, right? I'm gonna go here, and again, you can go to Google, right? You guys can actually plug in any of these, right, that Google spits out for you, and that's perfectly fine. But another thing that you should know, if you guys didn't know this little trick, is that Facebook actually allows you to, like let's put Fortnite again, which is the one we just targeted, right? If you actually hit the suggestions, Facebook will actually suggest really similar interests to that of Fortnite. Similar interests, like Counter-Strike. It's actually 2.2 million, with all factors considered. But that's still pretty good because it's above a million, right? And again, you do Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike, $5 a day, okay? And you keep doing that, and that's the beauty of Facebook ads, right? Like just especially when you have such a massive niche or massive pool of people to target. And I think you guys get the gist of this. Like you get absolutely the steps. So you're gonna do that one by one for all 10 interests, And once you do that, literally that is it, guys. That is exactly how I would target, and how I go about targeting any product. And so now, let's just talk real quick about CBO, because a lot of people just ask me, okay, what's the difference with CBO? Like what's changing? Right here, you see how it says budget $5, $5, $5 on this column. Essentially, that's going to disappear. So everything's going to be the same, but this budget is actually going to go on the campaign level. So let's just turn this on, okay? Boom, we turn this on, and now, like, you guys can see, like, okay, it's asking me, the campaign budget, right? Remember, it's on a campaign level, and so it just depends on your strategy, right? Like, how many ad sets are you actually, doing with your initial testing? And for CBO, for my particular strategy, since I do 10 ad sets at $5 a day, that's 5 times 10, which is 50. So that's what your budget will be, right? Don't put $5 a day. Start with 50. So it's the same thing. Like I said, nothing changes. It's just the perspective of it. Lowest cost is going to be the same because that's how we test. And we're going to hit close, right? And I'm going to show you guys the difference. Like I said, as you can see, even here, like the budget is $50, and if we go to the ad set level, the budget column is just completely gone, right? Well, actually, it's still here, but it says using campaign budget, So you will no longer be able to see the budget here. It'll just see at the campaign level, but nothing else has changed. You'll still be able to see the amount spent, the link clicks, the purchase conversion, the ROAS, the cost per click, all the relevant metrics will still be here. And as far as keeping, scaling, and killing, your decisions to keep or scale, kill are going to be based on how each asset's performing. But when you scale, we would actually go to the campaign level. We would change the budget, right? So if we're doing 50 and you want to scale, you would simply just, like, let's say you would just want to double it, you just simply change the budget here, right? So before you would have to scale one ad set at a time, whereas now you got to consider, if you're scaling 4 ad sets, you're scaling them at the same time. The way campaign optimization works, the difference between, or the comparison between without campaign budget optimization and with campaign budget optimization is that without, let's say there were $10, these ad sets were all at $10 a day, right? And, as they spend, right, let's say this ad set got you 3 conversions, this one got you 5, and this one got you 2. So regardless of the amount of purchases that you have doing without CBO, Facebook's still going to spend $10, regardless of how many sales each ad set makes, right? With CBO, however, what happens is, if this one gets 3 sales and this one, say, gets, I believe this is like 10 sales and this is 2 sales, like let's say if this one gets, because this one's getting the most, now Facebook is smart enough to allocate most of your budget to that ad set that's performing better or outperforming any of the other ads. So that's kind of like the quick explanation on CBO. So that's pretty much it, guys. This is literally, I've laid out my full strategy, testing strategy. This is literally how I would go about testing, every single product. Like, it's just a watch, rinse, repeat process. This is literally what I do for every product. One thing I didn't talk about, as you may notice, is, okay, so how do you determine when to scale, right? And I'm all about adding value and everything, so I don't want to leave you guys hanging, okay? So I'm going to give you guys, like, a quick breakdown of what to do at the point of 48 hours. Alright, guys, so we're here, and as promised, I did not want to leave you hanging. So I made this little document, and we're going to go over it. So like we went over, my strategy that I personally use that has led me to success, you only need $5 a day per ad set for a total of 10 ad sets, right? You want to, every product you test, you want to do 10 ad sets at $5 a day each. The biggest reason why you want to do single interest based ad sets is because you want to know where the top, where your sales are actually coming from. Let's say if you stack multiple interests in a single ad set, and let's say it's 5 interests and that ad set gets a sale, you will not really know which interest was the one that actually gave you the sale. It'll be relevant when you want to scale horizontally, because when you want to scale horizontally, you want to know which interest works so that you can duplicate that ad set and change that interest to a similar interest, right? So for a classic example, right? Let's say I was using the interest Netflix, right? And with the Netflix interest, let's say this one got me a lot of sales, right? So I know it's working. And now I want to scale horizontally. So if I only assigned Netflix as a single interest in an ad set, then I'm good, because I know that's where it came from. So when I scale horizontally, I'm gonna create another ad set and say, okay, similar to Netflix would be Hulu. Now, in contrast, if you stack a bunch of interests, like if I stacked Netflix, Hulu, Samsung, or Sony, and let's say that whole ad set got you a couple sales, okay, great. But now that I want to scale horizontally, I don't know if to make interest out of Sony, out of Samsung, or out of Netflix. And then, for interest, you want to always look for, in general, you want to look for brands, websites, magazines, and fan pages, right? These are the ones you want to go for. And, this little caveat, it's more of a caveat here, avoid algorithmic interests. And if you don't know what this is basically
interest that Facebook creates based on people's behaviors. To better illustrate what I'm saying, we're in the ads manager, and for example, right, we're gonna actually type the word makeup, right? And then these are what we call, these are perfect examples of algorithmic interest. Permanent makeup, makeup brush. Like, there's no actual page called makeup brush. There's no business called makeup brush. There's no Facebook group called makeup brush. These are just algorithmic interest that Facebook makes. Not to use these in your targeting ever. Instead, if you actually want to target makeup stuff, target brands. So MAC Cosmetics, Revlon. Okay, Revlon's okay. So you want to go after these interests, right? The interests that are actual brands that people actually went out of their way to like and be a part of. You don't want to go to those algorithmic. And the last point here is just make sure you run your ads for 48 hours, no less. Okay, so keep, kill, scale, obviously after 48 hours, right? So we're going to go in this exact order. Okay, so the very first step is you're going to monitor things at the campaign level. You're going to kill the campaign if less than 40% of your ad sets get a sale, right? And move on and just move on to the next product. You got to make sure that at the very least there are sales on 4 or more of those interests. Because if, let's say, you only get sales on two of those interests and then 8 of them didn't after 48 hours, that pretty much just means, your product is not a winner. It's just not a winner at this moment in time. And you gotta have no mercy. With 2 ad sets, you can't scale enough. Your risk, like, you remember, you want to put all your eggs in across multiple baskets, not just one basket. In this case, it would be 2 baskets. That's still too risky. Second point is, of course, the opposite. If 40% or greater ad sets get a sale, right? So if you're doing 10 ad sets, if 4 or more ad sets get a sale, then yes, proceed to the below, right? So proceed to actually going and taking a deeper dive. So ad set level monitor. First point. If the cost per link click, right, and hopefully you know what this is, but if you don't know what this is, cost per link click, how much it costs to actually get people to click on your ad, right? And obviously, a low cost per link click means a lot of people are clicking on your ad. Typically, for impulse buyers and e-com, you want your CPC to be below $1. So the first condition, if the CPC is less than $1, but no sales, you keep that running for another 2 days, okay? Because that just means that people are actually clicking, and for some reason they're not buying. But it's too soon for you to tell, to jump the gun, right? Like, I don't want you to jump the gun and be like, oh, okay, no sales, even though your CPC is really good. Because people are interested, they're just not buying, but they're not buying yet. So it's worth to wait 2 more days, even if you're losing money. But at least you give yourself more time, you give Facebook more time to see if they can actually find you that buyer. After 40 hours, if you get a sale, you're actually going to have the ROAS indicator. If you don't know what that means, ROAS is basically return on ad spend, right? And for keeping the ad set alive, you want to measure your ROAS against your BEP or your break-even point, right? So basically, if your return is at break-even point, you're going to keep it. Or if it's within the margin of safety range. Margin of safety range, basically, we'll touch upon this in just a little bit. Kill at 48 hours, right? 2 conditions, very simple. If your cost per click is above $1. So if this is above $1, like I explained earlier, it means people are just not interested. Maybe your product's good, maybe your targeting's good, but for some reason people are just not interested in your product. And then no mercy, like, don't even give this a chance. It's too expensive for Facebook to get a click. After 40 hours, if you do get a sale, but this falls below the break-even point, obviously at this point you're losing money because you're not breaking even anymore if your return is below. So this is where you would just kill it. No mercy. There's two ways to scale. And basically scaling horizontally and scaling vertically. You're only going to scale basically if your asset is winning, right? So if you have a winning asset, and a winning asset basically means the return on ad spend has to be greater than the margin of safety. Again, we're going to talk about this. But if the return on ad spend is greater than the margin of safety, you're going to scale both horizontally and vertically. If you're scaling horizontally, you're going to replace, you're going to basically take the winning assets. So let's say it's 4 out of 10, right? Let's say 4 out of 10 are winning assets. So, and let's say one of those assets is Netflix, right? So you're going to scale out to similar interest. And in this case, just for the sake of example and to make it easy, interest that's very similar to Netflix would be Hulu, right? So you would want to actually test Hulu because you got success with Netflix and Hulu is another streaming services. So it's very similar. So why not, right? And scaling vertically simply means just raising the budget. Finally, we have a CBO testing strategy. Nothing really has changed, right? Except now you'll be managing the budget at the campaign level. And you make keep and kill decisions, of course, still at the ad set level, but you make scaling decisions at the campaign level. And then finally, the break-even point is basically you take the price of your product and you divide it by the profit, right? And margin of safety, right? The famous margin of safety that I always talk about, margin of safety range will be BEP to BEP times 1.5. Let's say your break-even point is 1.3, okay, 1.3, right? And if we actually multiply that by 1.5, basically let's just say it's 1.9. So basically, that would be the margin of safety, right? I just want you guys to have something so you're able to get started and at least make some basic decisions off the bat after 48 hours when testing a product. But I would be more than happy to do another video with scaling, much more in depth. So if you want that video, if you want to see that, just comment below. Scaling. Alright guys, I know that was a little bit of a long video, but honestly, I just wanted to give you as much value as I possibly could. I mean, literally, the stuff that I just told you is the stuff that freaking gurus would charge you money for. It always makes me happy to see just other people have success, right? Other people get achieve the life of their dreams and get the life they want. So seriously, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and like I said, comment below if you guys want to see a full-blown FB ad scaling video. Just before I go, please guys, don't forget to subscribe and down below and just push that little bell button, okay? On a final note, I'm actually going to do 2 things for you guys right now, okay? Just because I love you and you're awesome, okay? All you have to do, right, if you go and like my Facebook page and you follow my Instagram and you actually join my Facebook group, of course, all of that on top of subscribing, you're going to get my personal product research cheat sheet, which basically has a very detailed breakdown on how I go personally about researching products. And whoa, one more thing, just to drop some more value to you guys. If you actually go to the Facebook group and you actually hit a request to join, once you're approved, you'll be able to get my CBO FB ad strategy notes, the same ones I show in this video. That is it, guys. Seriously. Thank you so much for watching, okay? And I hope to see you guys on the next.